Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is a little bit different. I am doing another travel vlog, and I've not done one since me and Nathan went to Cincinnati. So just a couple weekends ago, me and 5 of my friends, yes, that's 6 women, took a road trip to Massachusetts, specifically to Salem, and we had such a fun time. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our trip, a little bit of what we did. I'm going to try to post websites and links or whatever in the description below to the things that we did do. So I hope you guys enjoy spending just a little bit of time with us in Salem. So first off, we left from Richlands. I met all my friends in Virginia, and we put our location into the GPS, and we're like, okay, 14 and a half hours. That's a long time, but it's all right. Few stops, whatever, 16 hours max, right? No, wrong, completely wrong. We ended up on the way up there on the Friday night, or the Thursday night that we left, getting in traffic behind a wreck where we were stopped for 2 hours. And our stops took a little bit longer than we thought for like gas and food and whatnot. So it took approximately 20 hours to get from Virginia to Salem. That being said, it was 100% worth it. Was I exhausted and ready to be out of the car? Yes. Would I go back and do it in a heartbeat? Absolutely. 100%. Loved, loved, loved Salem. And regardless of if you like the history or not, it's a gorgeous town, a gorgeous area. There's so many little seaside towns. There was the best food ever. If you don't want to do anything else but eat, go and eat in Massachusetts. They know how to do it. I mean, like I said, there were 6 of us, and we would all just kind of like sample or whatever. Everything that we got food-wise was out of this world good. There is a lot of history up there, and it's not just about the witch trials, because I know that I had a lot of people that was like, hey, you're just gonna go see the witches. Well, yeah, I mean, it was part of our history, but first off, there was no witches. Let's just clarify that. They were executed wrongfully. They were all innocent, and that was proven later on. But yeah, there is that. But then there is also history with the Puritans and with the Mayflower, and there was bootleggers and pirates that came through, and Nathaniel Hawthorne lived there, and he wrote about the House of Seven Gables, which we got to go to, which was amazing. And there's so much to do there. And like I said, just apart from any of that, it's beautiful and the food is delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and pop you on over to some of our videos and pictures that I took while we was up there. So without further ado, here we go. Oh, hey guys. You're only got. Okay, you can't do that. You're lying to me. Shut up and drive.
At the traffic circle, take the second exit and stay on Massachusetts 128 North.
When you've been on the road for 14 hours, McDonald's looks like a king. Yeah, it does. First stop of the Salem trip, where all the hangings actually happen. I wonder what it says.
Reverend George Burroughs.
I wonder what that little note says.
Well, I ain't doing that.
I'm sorry. Are we like in the rain?
Look at the pennies.
Oh,
There's like pennies everywhere.
Finally made it to our Airbnb. Chilling in our living room.
Don't mind our multiple hour drive look.
Bathroom number 1. Bedroom number 1. Bedroom number 2. Brittany, look at the picture on the wall. It's such a cute little house. The wind called it. Sorry, y'all.
I thought we were like dying.
Hey, girls. Absolutely. Me and Jess have like our own private apartment down here by ourselves. We have our own bathroom to the right. Living room. With a view of our gazebo that we're not going to use as long as it's raining. And then our bedroom. The third and final bedroom. Girl, we got our own little studio apartment.
Yes, it's a bomb dizzle.
For sure. Okay, guys, we are getting ready to ride a train for the first time, minus Desiree, because she literally does everything. So we think we figured this out. Maybe. Hopefully we'll be in Salem soon. So I thought I'd introduce who's with me. Obviously, I'm Brittany.
Jessica.
Brittany, Ashley, Savannah, Desiree.
So we're gonna be touring Salem, and you get to kind of see what we're doing. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Now approaching Beverly Farms.
Following the red trail to Salem. First on the agenda, Kodo, sushi. Whoop, whoop. All right, y'all. We're being dedicated out here in the rain.
I had to get gloves.
I had to make glove stops. But we are on Essex Street, right in front of the Witches Museum. We're gonna be back here tomorrow, but we just wanted to let y'all know like how much we are into Salem right now, out here in the daggone rain.
Like 40-some degree weather.
Freezing air bumper. But we'll get some more tomorrow when it's sunny. Oh, hey, because that's real.
Scary.
Yeah.
Toby knocked it off. Okay, hold on. We need to read these signs, y'all. Throughout history, many ancient cultures have honored the dead with offerings and dress. Halloween comes from the witches' holiday of Shaheen, an ancient Celtic tradition. Some believe that the ancients would dress as what they wanted to be in the hopes that the spirits visiting that night would aid them in their goal. Trick-or-treating evolved from the idea of leaving food out for the ancestors, spirits, and fairies. You leave what the person liked, and everyone likes candy. Many witches in Salem today believe that the spirits of the dead and the spirit of Halloween have drawn us here to keep the magic alive.
At first I thought I was going to say they like the candy.
Go, Desi, go, Desi, go!
Divination.
Ball!
Really?
What is it?
I got balls.
Okay, Jess, your turn. Your turn.
Okay.
Royalty.
Oh man, I was almost a famous Duncan.
Put it on balls.
I don't
know what I want. A job! I got a job. It's 24/7, 7 days a week. It's called being a mom. It's not today. Not today. Food. Well, you do. Here, get Ash and me. All right. Oh, sorry, guys. Get a girl. Get a girl. Get a girl. Food. Well, you are eating the food.
True that.
Rich? Oh, girl, I'll take that.
Yeah, just step on the words. Don't step in the water. Ah! Don't step in the water. Crash.
Jump it! You gotta jump it! Woo! You made it! Hey, don't get in the water! Don't get in it! Made it! Boo! Don't wanna fall. Obviously, we are having so much fun at the Halloween Museum of Salem. It's all in 3D, and we are having a blast. Down by the water this morning, gonna get some breakfast at a place called Zeke's with Brittany and Jessica and Desiree, Savannah, little Mama Ashley. It's breakfast time.
Well, I told everybody that we're not gonna.
So we just got to Salem and we have already found the Sanderson sisters. Getting ready to head down Essex Street. Samantha from Bewitched. Finding our way to the House of Seven Gables. Are we excited, girlies?
Yes.
Are we excited? This is Derby Street. Made it to the House of Seven Gables. Yes. Yay! Let's go find it. I think it's that little black house right there in between the yellow.
Oh.
I think. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Perfect. Just waiting in line.
I don't know why I always look like a goober when you're video. I know.
So I can't take pictures or film inside, but I'll get what I can of the grounds. I can use my camera inside his birth house though. Down by the bay, where the watermelon grows.
Just listen at it, how peaceful.
It is very peaceful. Photo sessions. Pepper Company, the oldest candy store in the U.S.
There's blackjack. There's lemon dog. What is a jabron? Now justice. Everybody, everything. I used to do that. I used to get everybody to get when I went outside. I really don't. Now I'm like,
Anyone need anything from Bunghole Liquor? We good? We good? love the headstones. I know that probably sounds like really creepy, but I love all of the headstones. You ready to do lunch at the lobster shanty? Where they have warm beer, lousy food, all the things. Welcome to Salem! Walking up Essex Street and we find animals. Muppets! When you buy popcorn at the movie theater, just so you can pee. Cheated! Because otherwise you wait an hour in this line. Did I do that?
Look, I'm trying to get my dad.
She's like freaking out. Look at you. You liked exploring a little bit of Salem. This is part 1, okay? So there is a part 2. This video specifically was just our Friday and Saturday night. So like you've seen, we went to Kodo's Japanese and we had some sushi and some hibachi, and then we just explored Essex Street. It was freezing that night. I know that there was a clip that was talking about how cold and rainy and whatever that it was, and it definitely was. It was reading about 34 degrees, I think. It was raining sideways. We tried to use umbrellas, it would just flip it right inside out. So we just dealt with it. We was like, we're drenched, we're sopping wet, but you know what, we're having fun, so we'll just go with it. That night we went to a gift store on Essex Street called Coons, which is where I got my Salem sweatshirt out. We also got some gloves, and I know that some girls got stickers for their cars and magnets and keychains, that kind of stuff. Coons was amazing. They had so many cool things. I loved it a lot, and if I had like all the money in the world, I'd been like, I'll take one of those, one of those. Coons was great. Then Saturday morning we got up, and our Airbnb was actually in a neighboring town called West Gloucester, and we had full intentions of getting up early and catching the train at like 7:30 in the morning or whatever. Well, we missed the train by like 5 minutes. Yeah, we were up that early. We were so proud. We're like, yes, we're gonna make it, and 5 minutes off. So we was like, okay, we'll just go ahead, and I had seen some reviews of this place called Zeke's, so we popped on over there. It was a little seaside restaurant. It was just a teeny place, but I am telling you, absolutely delicious. I had those apple pie French toast stack thing, and it was so good. Jessica shared with me. We were like in heaven. We were so shocked to see that there was biscuits and gravy, because if you don't know, that is not a northern thing. You just don't hear of sweet tea or biscuits and gravy. That's just not a thing normally. So we ended up getting that as well, which it was a New England style. So there was like actually some really cooked down green peppers in it. So we were kind of like, I don't know how I feel about green peppers in my gravy for breakfast. But they'd cooked it down so much that they didn't have like any spice anymore, really. And the biscuits were slightly sweeter. I'm not saying like a cinnamon roll kind of sweet, but they were slightly sweeter than like our buttermilk biscuits or whatever. So they kind of balanced each other out, because the peppers did give it just a slight bit of heat, but not what you would think would come from like peppers being in something. But it was slightly warmer, and then you had the sweet biscuits. So together complemented each other really well. It was so good. A lot of the girls got omelets, and the omelets were huge, like in comparison to what you usually get. They would come out and it'd be covering the whole plate, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is the biggest omelet I've ever seen in my life. So we did that, and then we got on the next train. It was like at 10 something, and got on into Salem, and we explored Essex Street a little bit more, took some pictures, and just seen what there was to do, and just enjoyed the atmosphere, because during October, specifically during October, it is just this like adrenaline rush. I mean, you can just feel everybody so excited and so ready for Halloween, and they're just so into the Salem like vibe. And so just walking up and down the street, you just like feel this like just excitement down in your chest. It's just like, oh my gosh, like when you're at a concert, you can just feel like your heart like beating just from all the excitement that's around you. So we kind of soaked that in a little bit. And then we headed down one of the other streets that's pretty popular, is Derby Street, and it kind of goes along the water line a little more. So we kind of looked at some of the decorations there, and looked at some of the shops just from the windows or whatever as we passed through, until we got up to the House of Seven Gables. A lot of us really was excited about that, me being one of them. I am really into literature. I can remember the first time reading the Seven Gables, so when I seen that this was up here, I was like, girls, we have to go. This is like on my bucket list. So we went, and we was going to get our tickets or whatever, and it was going to be like an hour wait. That's another thing to remember. If you're going to Salem, do not have an agenda. Do not get impatient. You are going to wait everywhere. A minimum of an hour. Everywhere. The bathroom, your restaurants, your attractions, any of it. And I know that a lot of people are probably, why didn't you just order your attractions online and have your tickets pre-ordered? No, you don't do that in Salem. There is maybe 2 or 3 things that you can do that with, which we did, but the majority of it is you go, you get your time slot, and you wait. And that's just how it works. Also, it doesn't matter that October is insanely busy and insanely crazy. The museums, for the most part, are open from like 10 or 11 to 5 p.m. That is it. You've got very select few hours, and they aren't extending it for anybody or any time period. So when you're waiting about 2 hours for everything, it just doesn't leave a lot of room to do a bunch. So don't go with the expectations of, I'm doing 10 things in one day. It's not happening. It's just not going to. So we got our time slot, and it was like an hour, a little over an hour, maybe like an hour and 15 minutes, something like that, till our time slot. So we went back across the street to the Old Pepper Company, which was the first ever candy store. There was candy makers before that, but they mostly just did it from their homes, and they would deliver them, or you could come to their house, and they would have a specific room that you could come to pick it up, to where you wasn't like all through their house or whatever. But this was the first establishment that was specifically, this is a business for candy. They were also the first business that started shipping out candies later on. So that was amazing. We went in there and it smelled like heaven, and I had such a hard time deciding what in the world I was even going to get. Now, if you do go into Yellow Pepper Company, bring your wallet, because candies are good, candies smell good, but there's not exactly prices posted, and they are expensive. I got 4 candies, specifically turtles. They're little chocolate candies with caramel and usually pecans, which I got the one with pecans, but then they also had almonds. So I got 2 of each, just to try the difference. Okay, so I'm thinking I've got 4 candies about yay big, no biggie. $17, y'all. I about crapped my pants when she told me $17 for, 4 candies that were about 2 bites each. So bring your wallets if you're gonna buy. Maybe just go look. I don't know. But it was nice to just experience that. By the time we got in, and it is small, but by the time we got in, did our whole little loop, checked out, and walked back across the street, it was about time for a tour. I think a couple of us ran to the bathroom real quick, and then it was time to get started. As you've seen, I wasn't able to actually video in there. Obviously, they're trying to preserve it, and I think a lot of that is too. If everybody's posted videos in this house, then why even take the tour? You just watch it on YouTube. So I respected that. But on the same property, the Historic Society up in Salem had actually moved Nathaniel Hawthorne's birth house, right next door. So you also got to tour it, and I did get to take video and pictures in there. It was a self-guided thing, and I did include the clips from that, so at least you did get to see a little bit of that. You did get to see the outside of the House of Seven Gables, which a lot of people are confused that was Nathaniel Hawthorne's house. It was not. That was his cousin's house that he had visited through the summer, and he collected stories from his cousins to put together the book House of Seven Gables. If you've never read it, I suggest reading it. It's a great read. It is in Old English, so if you're not used to reading that, it is a little hard to get through, but I love it. It's pretty great. After that, we made our way back up the street, Derby Street. I think that's when we went to the lobster shanty. We waited 2 hours to eat at the lobster shanty. You didn't even put your name on a list. You literally got in a line, and when you got to the front of the line, you got a table. And we ate outside in the freezing cold. So they did have heat lamps. You could have waited to eat inside, I guess, but who knows how much longer that would have been. So we just went ahead and ate, and oh my goodness, I don't care if it was snowing outside. That food was delicious. Some of the girls it was called Max and cheese, and I'm specifically saying that because I know that I typed it out and I didn't want anybody being like, did she spell that wrong or whatever? No, it was Max and cheese is what it was called, and you could get just plain old mac and cheese, or you could get it with bacon bits, or you could get it with lobster. But then the girls did the bacon. And they said that it was absolutely amazing. It came out in these little skillets. They were super cute. Another girl got the spicy crab cake. She said it was definitely spicy, but it was definitely good. One got a fish sandwich. She said that it was one of the best fish sandwiches she had had. I had a lobster roll, and it was a little different than what I'm used to, because this was like huge chunks of lobster. Because when I seen the price, I was like, I don't know. That's a bit steep for lunch, but I really love lobster rolls. It was worth every dime. I don't think that I put prices in, so it was $26 for that sandwich. But it was huge pieces. You could see like the claw meat and everything. It was just huge. Normally you get it and it's kind of like a tuna salad where it's all shredded up and there's so much mayonnaise in it you can't tell what's meat or not. That is not the case there. This was lobster. And then my sister got calamari. She loves calamari, so her standards were fairly high. She got it. She's like, this is good. This is great. Obviously it's seaside town, so any kind of seafood that you get is going to be fresh and just delicious. We were totally fine with the weight that we had once we tasted the food. It was 100% worth it. One of the things with food, since we're on that, is if you go to Salem, they are a plastic-free town, which is great. I mean, when you're by the sea especially, it's great to not use plastic so that it's not getting to the water, bothering the sea life or whatever. I'm totally for that. But prepare yourself, because you're either going to be drinking without a straw, which, no biggie, we should all be able to do that as adults. Like, you shouldn't need a straw. But if you get one, it's going to be those paper straws, which, great ideal, but sometimes they start, like, shredding a little bit, so then you get flakes of paper. So maybe skip out on the straws if you're worried about that, because we definitely were. It wasn't the most pleasant. Also, that being said, when you go to stores, some of them give you paper bags to put your stuff in. Others will be like, do you just want to like take this out? Because there's not plastic bags, and they try to go sparingly with the paper as well, if we're being really, really honest. So it's great, but you know, you just gotta kind of prepare yourself for that. So we all had like backpacks or oversized bags so that when we bought stuff, we could kind of just shove it in there, because you ain't getting a plastic bag and you may or may not be able to get the paper bag. That's just how they roll, which, like I said, I'm not against it. Just make sure to prepare for it. After that, we went back to Essex Street and met up for our ghost tour, which was great. It was Salem Night Tours. We went by the memorial, the witch trial memorial, Burying Point, and then we went back over to a seafood place that we really wanted to eat called Turner's. We ended up not getting to, though, because the wait was like 2.5 hours, and even at that, she's like, you might be able to get in at that time, and that was going to be putting us after 9, and we were pretty hungry, so we didn't get to stay. But anyways, it's one of the first ones that was executed during the trials, lived in that area, and they say that she still to this day steals everybody's forks when you come to eat at the restaurant. So they say prepare to ask for 5 or 6 forks while you're eating there, which sounds insane to me, like, why steal a fork? But I guess she's just making her presence known, like, hey, I was here and I wasn't exactly treated right, so I'm taking your fork. Which is, you know, I get it. We also went to the site where Giles Corey was pressed to death. He was the only one that was pressed to death. So that was cool to see that area. Basically, he wasn't going to confess anything, and they couldn't exactly take him into custody without, you know, admission to what he had done. He's like, I'm not going to say anything or whatever, and they pressed him until he finally just, like, his lungs collapsed on him. And a lot of people, I think, get the notion when they hear the story that it was something that happened, like, really fast, like it was like an hour or whatever. It was several days this event occurred, so it was excruciating for him. It was a real tragedy. So yeah, we got to see, it's now like a parking lot or whatever where they're kind of roughly estimating where that happened. So yeah, we got to see that and a couple little other things along the way. So that was great. And then afterwards, we kind of seen a couple of the characters that were out on Essex Street, like the Teletubbies, the demonic-looking Teletubbies, which I got a kick out of. I love when they, like, interact. I just think that that's absolutely great. So all in all, Air Friday and Saturday was amazing. If you want to see what we did on Sunday and Monday, continue watching the second part. I'll be posting it shortly. And I hope that you've loved it. As always, subscribe, like, and share.